mission: end, silence the stigma and shame about suicide loss, ideation, and mental health. Please, won't you join me? Welcome to Suicide Zen Forgiveness, the podcast that shares powerful stories of suicide loss, ideation, and mental health in order to break the silence, stigma, and shame. Our mission is to encourage empathy for those experiencing these challenges. Every narrative serves as a beacon of hope, want to touch lives and inspire resilience. Won't you join me in this journey as we share stories to help others to find hope? Please note, this podcast is for educational purposes and may contain triggering content. If you're grieving or experiencing mental health issues, please reach out to your local suicide hotline or mental health office for immediate help. And now, let's start the show. So it's really good to be back, and I'm excited to be here with a very exciting guest. Tywanah Yvette is here with us. I'm going to say from down south, where it's really nice. I am, like Tawana, I think lately I am very much into being warm, more so than I ever have been in my life. It's a very big change for some of us, but hey, it makes it easier being wherever you are because you never have a problem with being too cold.
Absolutely.
Or too hot, rather. Yeah, too cold is the problem. Too hot is not. Anyway, after that flurry of an entrance there, I want to say that our guest today has a really touching story, and I thank you so much for joining me here. I'm going to let you give the audience a little idea of who you are and what you do, and then we will dive right into your story.
Sounds good. Thank you so much for having me. I've been very much looking forward to our recording since we talked the first time, and I've been telling everyone about you. So this is both an honor and a privilege to be chosen by you to be a guest, so I thank you.
Thank you.
I am Tywanah Yvette. My alter ego, as I like to say, is Black Butterfly Goddess. And she was born through my spiritual awakening. I've always been a butterfly fanatic. And so I chose the black butterfly because it's the rarest. It's the one you're going to see the least. But through my darkness, I have finally reached a place of my light. And so I use my light to guide others now through their darkness.
It's just so beautifully said. I really love that. And that is exactly what we're going to talk about. I'm going to have you start wherever you please, and let's take the journey with you.
Sounds great. My journey actually begins when I was 15 years old, and my natural father impregnated me at 15, and I went and lived in a group home after that. I didn't know anything about real healing, and in the group homes, they didn't really know anything about true healing. They sent us to counseling for 8 weeks or whatever. But living in the group home in and of itself was a very traumatic experience. That incident caused me to choose the worst partners ever because I lacked self-love and self-esteem. I did not know that I was worth true love. I did not know that I was valuable. I always felt like I was damaged goods. And so I chose the worst partners. I've been through physical, domestic abuse. The worst of it was the psychological, which I thought by choosing a 4th grade teacher, I was doing better. And unfortunately, his spirit was, I would liken it akin to my father reincarnated. He took everything from me. The little bit of self-esteem that I had built up, he took it. He gained pleasure in watching me cry and watching me be in pain, bringing me to the brink of a seizure and then telling me, take your med. So when I tell you this man was psychologically sick, it was not an easy fate. And I had come to DC to help my sister. She had lost a loved one and she needed me. And I returned to Atlanta. Everything in my body was screaming, go to your house, go to your own house. But it was like, I can't do the argument. I'm trying to grieve my brother-in-law. I just can't do the arguing tonight. And against my best friend at the time's judgment, because when I was on the plane, she said, go home. Against my own better judgment, I went to his house. And when I got in the car, I tried to be jovial. And I said, I forgot how great DC is for education. When I lived there, I worked for White House appointees, so I never had the time to take the sights in. We should really take your son because his son is brilliant. And the car got cold. And I knew I had said something wrong, and I'm like, it's going to be a long night. And so I get home and I go to hug him because I hadn't seen him in a week. And I knew in my heart that he had cheated. I already knew that intuition, we sometimes second guess that. And I did. And I'm like, oh, you're just thinking too much, whatever. And I went to hug him. He pulled away. And I went and took a shower. And I came in the living room and sat down and I was eating something. But something told me to place my phone in my robe pocket and hit record. Because at this point, I needed to know I wasn't losing my mind.
Right.
And he says to me, I'm not going anywhere where you traipsed around with another man. First of all, traipsed is something I don't do. I am a woman with class. And second of all, I told you I never took the sights in because White House appointees, we're on call 24/7. Our life is not our own when we work for White House appointees. And I'm trying to explain myself, and he just kept going and going until all of a sudden I felt numb. And I remember walking into the bedroom. I just walked away while he was screaming and laying down, but I put the phone under the pillow and left it on record. And of course, he followed me and kept going, but I just closed my eyes and went to sleep. The next morning, I woke up. I could feel it in my gut that it was about to be another bad day. And again, I'm grieving my brother-in-law. I'm grieving the pain that I watched my sister go through because she's the strongest one in the family. And at this point, I'm grieving my own little bit of self-worth that I had worked so hard to build. And he comes in the room and he starts up again. And I remember that numb feeling, almost like I wasn't in my body. And I walked over to the dresser and I had just filled my sleeping pills prescription. I have epilepsy. I have to shut my brain down or I'll stay awake for days at a time and it'll trigger a seizure. And I took the entire bottle of sleeping pills followed by hot coffee and vinegar.
Oh.
I wanted the pills to melt so fast that no matter what anybody did, I would be gone. I was tired. I felt worthless. I felt unnecessary. And I left the house because his response was, oh, great, now I have to go to the pharmacy and get you Ipecac.
Oh.
So he left the house and I put on my favorite sweatshirt that my daughter gave me. It had butterflies all over it because I wanted to feel her close to me. And I went and laid in the woods between two trees and I fell asleep. And daughter knew something was wrong. She was at work. She knew something was wrong. And so she tried to call my phone. I didn't pick up. And she's like, okay. She checked my location. I'm in the woods. She called my other daughter. She had her hack my phone to turn everything back on. And then they called him. And the story that I get is he took me to the hospital. My hospital records still are very unclear. And at this point, I feel like spirit just doesn't want me to know how I was saved. And I accept that at this point. But while I was asleep, I remember my daddy, not my father, my stepdaddy. He was my daddy. I was a daddy's girl. I could do no wrong when he was in my life. And him my mother and my dog from childhood, the husky, were standing at the edge of this forest. And my daddy had his head down. And he doesn't want to tell me no. And he's shaking his head and he has his head down. And my mother said, you have to go back. And I'm pleading with her. I'm like, Mommy, I am so worthless. I am nothing. No one needs me. No one loves me. No one wants me in their life. I'm tired. I just want to be with you. I'm tired. And she goes, no, baby. So many people need you. You have to go back. And I am like pleading with her. And she said, you do have a purpose, and your purpose begins now. And when she pushed me, I woke up in the hospital. And, but I couldn't remember that part of it. I kept telling my daughter, I went somewhere. I went somewhere. I know I went somewhere, because my mother put a veil so that I could not remember what happened in that moment. And so, of course, traditional therapy and things followed. The hypnotherapy was what really started that healing journey. And they took me back. My RTT hypnotherapist took me back to signing my soul contract. And she said, why did you choose your mother? And I said, because she's so beautiful and she thinks no one loves her. And I want to love her. And sorry, I get choked up.
Don't
And
be so.
that's really where my story began. I left Atlanta, moved in with my sister to help her. They had a 6-month-old king course. He lost his person too.
Yeah.
And so I was here to help her, help with the dog. And when I moved into my apartment, my mother's voice became undeniably loud. I couldn't even sleep. And she had me start writing, just writing everything I heard, scripting with my eyes closed, just writing. And finally, she says, you're ready to meet the rest of your ancestral team that's been with you. And so she would bring each ancestor in. And as I learned their energy, I would learn their voice. I would be able to see them. So I can physically see my mother now. I can physically see my ancestors now, even the ones that I had no idea existed. And now I am so fortunate to be trusted with so many women's lives, even men. I had a gentleman message me a few weeks ago, and he said, I had the pills in my hand, and I was getting ready to take my life. And you popped up on a random podcast. And because of you, I'm going to stay. And for so many years, I thought I was so worthless. Thought I was a nobody. And I thought I had no purpose. But that one soul was worth everything I went through. That one message. But that's not where it ends. I go on TikTok live every night, and I have a following of women who fiercely protect me, who fiercely love me. And it's just because I am. It's just because I exist. It's just because I bring the messages of hope from the other realm. I sent a message to one of my followers the other day, and her name is Loyal Mommy on TikTok, and she's one of my moderators. And I sent her a little financial gift. And I said, I know it's not much, but Spirit's guiding me to do this. And she says, I don't know why. And I said, you were the first person that ever defended me in my life. We were on a TikTok live, and somebody said something very unkind. And she just went in. Before I could even open my mouth, she defended me. And I said, that's why I love you. And now they look for me. They're part of my mentorship program. I'm guiding so many out of the darkness It's overwhelming, not in a bad way, in a very happy way. I finally love me. I lost everything that I ever worked for, physically, financially, and even my children chose not to be a part of my life anymore because, of course, my trauma spilled into their life. And I own that. I own it. And I honor them because they're so brave. But despite my life looking lonely and desolate to the outside world, I'm so full of gratitude. I'm so full of love. And I dare someone now to tell me that I'm not worth everything in this world. I dare someone. And that's how I got here. So my mother, she's always on my right side. She's always whispering messages. She's the one who helps me bridge between the material and the spiritual realm so that I can guide these men and women to their healing space, into their lightness. And I never in a million years could have ever dreamed that I have so much love around me from people who don't know me, from people who I just gave a kind message to. I'm thinking I'm just giving you a kind message. But I now know what unconditional love feels like. And it's beautiful.
These are the stories I love to hear because confirmation, the universe, God, whatever you call it, that higher presence, wants you to understand your value and your worth and to love you, which is something that many of us really struggle with.
Mm-hmm.
And the more damage we get inflicted upon us, the harder it can be to get back to that place. Because little children are totally in love with them. You know, there's none of the what if that adults put on things. There are none of the judgments or the side glances from others or any of that.
Mm-mm.
They are just little bundles of love, and they think they are the greatest thing in the universe, which is wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
We need to find a way to allow children to hang on to that feeling
Yes.
so that they can weather the storm that many of us have to go through.
Yes. I agree wholeheartedly. And I don't hope, I've been shown it already. There's going to come a day where I'm going to go back to my group homes and provide them messages of hope and let those girls know that if nobody else in the world loves them, I love them. And it's just because they exist.
That's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And will make such a huge difference because a lot of us can go and be helpful. A lot of us can try and be empathetic to others. But when you've walked that walk, it is even more genuine.
Yes.
Because you've been there.
Yes. And that's what I want to let them know, that they are not their trauma. I thought I was damaged goods because I identified myself with the guilt and the shame of the trauma. But I had nothing to feel guilty or ashamed about. It should have been my father who should have been ashamed of himself. But he wasn't. He was not. And I no longer carry guilt or shame as a burden, not even for the decisions that I've made in my own life. I don't feel guilty now. Do I wish there were some decisions I could go back and fit? Absolutely. And the only ones are the ones that involve my children and me not healing before I had them. But I don't feel guilty or ashamed about anything anymore.
That is so wonderful because none of that belonged to you. And the unfortunate thing is, very seldom done. In all of these cases, guilt, the blame, the shame that is forced on children is not theirs to bear. But when we are in awkward situations, when we only know trauma, when we only know discomfort as our place of safety, and that's what we go to. And picking a man that was absolutely the wrong individual would make sense because you were seeking the comfort that you knew.
Yes.
And it can be very difficult for people to look at others, and you will often see domestic abuse survivors who go back or who cancel the charges that were laid because it's always easier to go back to what you know. And if that's all you know, you don't have a way to weigh what is or is not right when you only know the one thing. And it's painful for so many because that's what they understand as love. And that's what we all see. We want to be seen, we want to be heard, we want to be loved. It's pretty simple, but it gets so mixed up in the complicated lives that we lead. And I think the true shame and guilt and blame that should be on the adult, the perpetrator, is diverted to the victim so that the perpetrator doesn't have to feel. It's not that they aren't aware, it's that they have the ability to push it off on someone else. And that's a very unfortunate skill. But there are a lot of those people who are just don't understand the appropriate way to do things. And I don't think it's something we're ever going to be able to erase, but it is something that we can educate the coming generation to be aware earlier so that they can be more autonomous with themselves.
Yes. My children have broken that cycle. They were brave enough to make a conscious decision to break that cycle. And as their mother, even though a TikToker yesterday told me I can't be trusted if my children aren't in my lives, as their mother, I'm beyond proud of them for breaking that cycle, for recognizing it. And again, I think my daughters are the most brave and beautiful beings that exist because I cannot imagine the strength it took to break the cycle. And I cannot imagine the strength it took to stand up to me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think a lot of people don't understand the concept of generational trauma. And this is the second conversation I've had about this today. It is huge. It is absolutely huge. And for those who are able to get to the place you're at and the place your daughters are at, an incredible gift. It just, it's just so wonderful. But it's much easier for me to understand. I can empathize because I've had my own trauma. So I can feel for you and for other women because I've been there. It's a little different when you haven't. I know I'm forever saying that I believe first responders and doctors, medical people, firemen, all of those they need to spend 24 hours in the skin or in the shoes of those that they help
Yes.
so they can truly understand the position that people are put in. You have no control, you have no autonomy, you have nothing. When you are the victim, truly, I hate to use the word victim, but while someone's being victimized, there are no rights. They have all been usurped by the perpetrator. And I think it's really important for people to understand the psychological aspect of that. And the only way to do that is to put yourself in that role, per se, for 24 hours so you can get a feel.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
I don't know how we do that without traumatizing others, but I think it better for all of us if first responders and those in positions of authority had to fulfill that task so that they can truly empathize
I
with the
agree
people they
wholeheartedly.
deal with every day.
Agree wholeheartedly.
I think we would see a lot less of the issues we come up against.
You're correct. And as someone who worked for White House appointees,
Yes.
100% correct. If the people in power, no matter what that power is,
No.
if the people in power had to spend some time going through what the collective of citizens are going through, then this world would be a much prettier place. It really would.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's everything from being homeless, being poor, color issues, all of that. There are so many things that truly cross those borders.
Mm-hmm.
The poorest of us, those on the street, they are at such high risk because they don't have any status. Such a mind-boggling thing to realize humans by nature, we are comparative.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you can't know tall unless short.
Right.
You can't know hot unless cold. It's how we function within the world. But as humans, like everything else, we've taken it to the nth degree that wasn't required. And putting people in boxes and putting labels on people doesn't help me. A human is a human.
Mm-hmm.
And whether you're a human like Elon Musk, who has pots of money he can walk on or sit in or first,
Yeah.
or you're a gentleman who is down on his luck and living on the street,
Mm-hmm.
you're still a human being.
It makes me sick. I
Yeah.
actually get physically ill. I moved back to the Washington D.C. area, and I literally get physically ill when I get on the train and see homeless vets that fought for this country.
Yes.
It makes
Yeah.
me. I literally get. I can't eat. My stomach hurts because it's not that I'm not aware that it's all over the world that people are homeless. But as someone who worked for White House appointees and know how much these people actually make, and know that these people went to war, they lost limbs, they lost their minds, they lost their ability to provide. And all it would take would be for the people in power to convert 3 office buildings into veterans spaces. I get physically ill.
As you say, it's everywhere, and I totally get that. I have a number of friends who were Vietnam vets. It's shocking to know that they returned from a war they didn't want to be in, to be shunned by their fellow Americans because people were embarrassed that they had fought the war. Fortunately, the fallout were the vets. And they just, I grew up in a military family. My father was in the British RAF, and he was in the Canadian RCAF, and then he became a peacekeeper.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I'd wear a poppy all year long if people didn't know me about it all the time. If I see someone with a vet license plate, I will go up and tell them, "Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for your service."
Yeah.
As I don't think we realize the rights and freedoms we do have are only because of these people.
Exactly. And they deserve
And
respect.
by their choice, they were sent by the government. Having respect for them doing what was expected.
Mm-hmm.
And my father in Britain, you didn't have a choice like America in the 60s. When you turned 18, you did your service. It's all over the world. Okay, many countries, you have service. You go into service at 18 and you have, I think it's a minimum of 2 years or 4 years, depending on where you are. Doing that is a requirement. And for those of us who haven't, we should be damn grateful
100%.
for everything they do.
100%. Every vet I see, I say thank you. If I'm getting on the train and I see a vet, I say, no, I'll pay for your fare. If I'm in the grocery store and I see a vet, no, I will pay for your groceries. Because first of all, my 2 uncles fought in Vietnam. One has passed. One has just celebrated his 90-something birthday.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
But they were in the Air Force and they had to fight. And they didn't want to, just like you said. And they were fortunate enough to be able to build lives behind it to where they didn't have to suffer. But I see so many here in the nation's capital suffering. It makes me ill. This should be the last place that we see that.
Yeah.
This should be the last place. So I honor and I respect your father. I honor and respect all people who have served in many different capacities, whether it was in the war or I honor and respect my fellow Americans who, like me, served presidential appointees.
Yes, absolutely.
Because none of it's easy. And you do make a choice to go against everything that's in you.
Yeah, absolutely. I know when we were in our teens, my husband, not my current husband, before him, his parents were moving them to the States. And he got to the border. They were told that within 2 years he would have to serve. And his father turned the car around. And instead, they moved across the country rather than go to Florida because he didn't want his son to serve. He himself had been one of Hitler's Nazi youth in Germany when he was a young boy. It was a bit of a bone of contention between our families. My father and his friends, I think, were bombed out of a tree on Hollywood Palace grounds when they were like, they were far enough away that they weren't hurt, but the whole concept of living through war, needed kind of oil and water between the family because they were on 2 different sides, which makes it difficult as well. But we have to honor those that fight for their country, whichever country.
Exactly.
Make no mistake, as I say that for the audience, I am not talking about terrorist groups. I am talking about people who were appointed or sent by the government of their country.
Yes.
Not terrorist groups. And I don't want to make this a political thing, but that is very important to me that people understand that it's not at all what I.
And I'm in full agreement with you. 100% agreement with you. And again, I honor your father, and please tell him I said thank you for
your uncle too.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, my dad, actually on Sunday, we went to the cemetery to see the family. My mother, my grandmother, my aunt, and my sister are all buried there. And my mother is actually in the military, a part of the cemetery, because you can be buried with your significant
Yes.
other. And dad's name is already, I don't like how they do it. It's already on the headstone.
Yeah.
But he said on Sunday, "Oh, when I'm he boots up, when I'm boots up, I want you to be sure you put the RAF on it." Absolutely, Dad.
Right.
I will make
100%.
sure I do that.
100.
Gotta get it all, yeah, gotta get it all in there. But I thought, yes, and why not? He felt it an honor to serve both his countries.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. What's next on the horizon for you?
There is so much greatness happening for me. I will be a published author on October 29th.
Oh, yay!
I'm part of an anthology, and the publisher, Inspired Living Publishing, she has been a godsend. I didn't know she was watching me for 7 years on Facebook.
Wow.
And she said she just kept hearing this voice say, no, she has to be a part of this book. She has to be a part of this book. And of course, now I know that was my nosy lady who stays on the right side of me.
Way to go, Mom.
Yeah, my mother even made it. It was funny because when I had the meeting with the publisher and she's sharing this stuff, she says, we have to sign your contract by April 8th. And I said, huh? And she goes, oh, look, do you have plans? And I said, no, that's the date of my mother's passing. And I hear my mother, as clear as we're talking now, say, now you don't have to cry on that day anymore. And so it's a day of celebration now because
Oh, that's
the
beautiful.
publishing agreement on that day. And then 2 weeks later, I am on the phone with a brilliant woman who's putting together a women's summit. And I'm going to be a keynote speaker.
Oh, that's fabulous.
She says, okay, it airs July 29th. And I said, what day did you say? And she goes, oh, you have vacation planned? And my mom said, now you don't cry on either day. That's my mother's birthday.
Birthday.
So there's that. I am booked on so many podcasts, it's hard to keep up. I hope to be able to start my own soon with my birthday bestie. My mentorship program is in full swing. It's up and running. So I am literally guiding others from their darkness into the light. I am an oracle reader. I do know how to read tarot, but I have handed that over to Birthday Bestie because my space is now guiding these individuals into their light. So that's what's next. And my mom showed me a vision. Me standing on a stage in front of millions. And so I know that's coming too. I don't know when. But since that RTT hypnotherapy session where she came through clearly, and that I didn't protect you in childhood, but I will fiercely guide you and protect you from these realms here moving forward. Everything she's shown me has come to pass. So I'm looking forward to standing on a stage one day. And women just feeling valued and heard and seen. My whole life, I just wanted somebody to see me, and it's 3 simple words. It's less than 10 letters. So I am sure that when I'm on TikTok Live, I tell my fellow sisters and brothers, I see you, I love you, I was you, I am you, and you are loved and you're valuable. And I try to send that message to everyone because everyone needs to know that.
Tawana, that is so beautiful. And what a lovely way to wrap up our time together today. That was really beautiful. And I can't wait to see it all come to fruition for you. We look forward to your book, and I will make sure, as you can expect, all the information about Tawana is right down below the podcast, how to get in touch with her, how to find out about the mentor program, all of that, and the upcoming book will all be there for you to look up. I thank you so much, Tywanah Yvette, for joining me today. And I just can't wait to see
Thank
where you soar next.
Thank you. You are one remarkable woman. I feel your energy, and you're just such a wonderful woman, and you're doing so much to help so many.
Well, thank you. Uh, I don't have the words, the gratitude for your kind words. I thank you very much.
It's
And
one
the Black Butterfly Goddess. We will see you again very soon. In the meantime, make the best of your today every day.
Thank you for being here for another inspiring episode of Suicide Zen Forgiveness. We appreciate you tuning in. Please subscribe and download on your favorite service and check out SZF's YouTube channel or Facebook community. If you have the chance to leave a 5-star rating or review, it'd be greatly appreciated. Please refer this to a friend you know who may benefit from the hope and inspiration from our guests. Suicide Zen Forgiveness was brought to you by the following sponsors: Truel Social Media, the digital integration specialists. Let them get you rockin' page 1 in the search results. Canada's keynote humorist Judy Croon, motivational speaker, comedian, author, and stand-up coach at Second City. Judy has been involved for over a decade in the City Street Outreach Program in Toronto.
The ultimate podcasting pack. This is great for you if you're just starting your podcast or if you've been running it for a while. It's filled with tools, templates, and trainings for starting, growing, and monetizing your podcast. Get access to time-saving systems and strategies for accelerating your process at each step. Find new connections and collaborations in the uplifting podcasting community. I look forward to seeing you there.
Do you have a story to share? Do you know someone you think would be a great guest? Please go to szf42.com. And for our American listeners, that's szf42.com. Thank you for listening, and we hope to see you again.